The 40 Lessons Podcast is a Shining Starlight Entertainment production.
Time for another week of life, love, and everything in between on the 40 Lesson Podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another week of love, life, and everything in between on the 40 Lesson Podcast. It's your boy 40 Lessons.
It's your girl Tori Strick.
Man, I tell you, we was sitting up here chatting for the show. I'm just amazed at the magnificent things that Tori comes up with. Mind-boggling things.
I don't think it's mind-boggling. That's dramatic.
So Tori has a birthday coming up.
Shakespeare.
This is not the topic of the show. We'll get to the topic shortly. But Tori got a birthday coming up. And so it kind of was like, hey, you want to see my birthday list to see what you getting me? I said, you got a birthday list? Like, what are you, 6? She was like, yeah, I got a birthday list.
A closed mouth don't get fed.
I got it. Hold on, y'all. Let me just show y'all how much this mouth trying to eat. Because this birthday list had a Range Rover on it.
I don't understand why you wouldn't ask for what you want.
So where does this? We got to spend 3 minutes on this list. Where does this list go?
I posted it on Facebook and on Instagram, and I sent it to some people.
How does one go about purchasing the Range Rover and delivering that on your birthday? I'm just confused. How does this happen?
For example, I sent the list to my brother. So my big brother.
Okay.
So if my big brother were so inclined and wanted to,
purchase a Range Rover,
he could do so.
Have it delivered to Maryland.
Or he could be like, when you come to Detroit,
you can drive your truck back.
Yeah.
I tell y'all think I be making this stuff up? Yeah, I don't.
I mean, people may not buy it, but there are things on there that cover a wide range of budgets. Like I don't know if you guys know, there's this customized
if
shampoo.
Rover too high, I got Louis Vuitton on there for you.
Well, yes. But if Louis Vuitton is too much, then I got my skincare products that I use are like all under $15. Really good skincare products from The Ordinary, or Function of Beauty makes customized shampoos where you can actually customize it based on your hair type and you can get your name on it and stuff. So there's stuff on there that cover a wide range of budgets. It's not just Range Rover.
And she rounded the list out with World Peace.
I mean, I think that's, we want world peace,
boy,
yes?
You Scorpios, I tell you. But anyway.
You'll always know where you stand with us.
Man, well, happy birthday early, Tori.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the gifts that make it off the list. I'm looking forward to finding out if the Range Rover show up. Because I want to know if anything had to be done for that little piece of change to pull up in the yard.
Oh, that's terrible. I don't think the Range Rover. I think I'll probably have to get the Range Rover. Well, not now, though, obviously.
So you don't purchase off your list. If it just don't happen, we just move it to a later date?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that how it's supposed to be?
Obviously so. That's what it seems.
Yeah.
Man, anyway, this week we talking about, we've been talking about an array of things this season. It's been a very interesting season.
It has been.
It's been an interesting season.
Stimulating conversation.
In a whole number of ways. But today we talking about
being friends with exes.
Being friends with exes.
You all right, brother?
Man, listen. This topic right here is dangerous.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I listen. I'm saying no. I'm telling people no. Just run from that one. Especially if you have moved on and you are in another relationship, on your way into an engagement, or definitely if you married, you need to leave that ex thing alone. I just don't believe personally, as a man who as a man who is in love with a woman, that she want to sit in a room with another woman outside of a children's mother, or a child mother. That's the child's mother. That person ain't going nowhere. Outside of, and that's not a friendship. That's a co-parenting obligation. That's different. But to just be buddy chum chum, with somebody you used to be with? Intimately?
So where?
What y'all sitting there talking about?
So the
He still
question
do the one
then.
leg thing with you? I'm just saying.
So then the question is,
about?
if we tell people that they, in order to cultivate meaningful relationships, you're going to be friends first. And so where does that friendship go? Does it just go away?
Absolutely. It ends.
So you dispose of people when you're done with them.
I dispose of people when we ain't in a relationship sometimes. Sometimes life requires purging.
I think that you purge people, certainly. You get rid of
Sometimes people
habits
purge
and
theyself.
behaviors, absolutely. But I do think that there are people who add value to our lives, and they happen to be people who we were in romantic relationships with previously.
Well, I tell you what, if you in a romantic relationship with somebody now, you might want to turn down the value of that other person, because I think I would be very troubled if somebody used to be in a relationship with is still in your close circle.
So what's the real issue then?
Ain't no real issue. I just don't think it's appropriate.
What's the issue? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I think people flirt too much. And when I say flirt, I don't mean in the manner of flirting. I think people play with the line, get too close to the line for unnecessary reasons.
So it's a trust issue.
I don't think it's a trust issue. It's not even a trust issue. It's for me, it's a covering thing. For me, it's like I'm of the mindset where I need to understand what is the need for this in my life. Is this a necessity or is this a want that I have?
And what if the person indicates that this is a person who they consider to be a friend, and that they want that friendship in their lives? I mean, because we could all argue that we don't need our friends necessarily. I mean, I think we can make that argument, but our lives would be terrible if we didn't have those people in our lives. If we say that this is a person who I built a relationship with, we're no longer romantically involved, you say you trust me, I trust you, and this is a person who adds value, to have to step away from that.
I don't think you get to do that.
Why?
I don't think that person gets to do that.
Why?
The decision is not on you to say you trust me. That's an unfair statement. I don't think people should make those statements to people.
You should not, and I agree with that.
Yeah, that's
I
not
was
a fair
simply
statement.
stating the facts. If there's trust that exists between us, right? There's trust that exists between us as a romantic couple, and this is a person whose friendship I value. I'm trying to figure out why I can't be friends with that person.
Because it makes me uncomfortable and I don't want it.
Why does it make you uncomfortable?
Because I believe that it's a familiarity there that should never. I don't think that familiarity should be that close.
What is that close? I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand where the inappropriate nature of the relationship is coming into being. We're not sleeping together. We're not hanging out every day.
Not at the moment. But when you have had that history, come on, man. We all done been in single moments or dating situations where we not necessarily serious with someone, and you on the phone with somebody that's a friend, and y'all sharing an inappropriate joke or two because y'all done went there before. Y'all, it's familiar. He know what you look like naked. He done been in the cookie jar. So yeah, he know that little joke he can slide, and it's a ha he moment, innocent at that moment. I don't even want the opportunity for that to arise.
That assumes that boundaries are not created and boundaries are not enforced.
I don't think it's a boundary that you should have to even hold. And I don't really think it's your choice as the person who was in the relationship and has the history to say whether that relationship stays or not. Now, if you take that to your partner and your partner say, I'm cool with it, then fine. But if you take it to your partner and they say, nah, that's a no-go for me, they shouldn't need an explanation.
Okay. So then, by your statement, when we have the conversations with our partners about who it is that we are engaging in our lives, our partner has very heavy influence on who remains in our circle, to include our friends who are of the same sex. Those are
two different things.
Well, hold on. So your boy really, he liked the trick. Like, he hang out, he have a good time, he does his thing, he's in the strip club. It's 3-4 in the morning before he come in the house. So
Absolutely.
So I can say to you that makes me uncomfortable.
If I'm the man I am, you wouldn't have to say it to me.
Well, we know we're not talking about you, T'Challa.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
I'm saying in general. Then the conversation, you can say this is not a person that I want.
Absolutely. If you got a girlfriend I don't really rock with like that, I would let it be known. I don't trust you around. I don't trust this one for you hanging out with. I don't like how this one moves. I say that to you. If I see one of your girlfriends and I don't appreciate how they get down, I'll be like, I would prefer when you out and about, or if you taking a trip in somewhere, that person ain't on the list. Because I'm concerned with what situation those actions could possibly put you in. And you ain't doing nothing. Just sometimes we've all been in a situation where the foolishness of our friends, we had to all of a sudden go to war, go into protection mode, or go into, where they at? Go find them. Oh, Lord, look what this fool doing. We've all been in those moments.
But presumably, if this is a person who has been your friend, you already know how they move, and yet you've elected to remain friends with them. So then you have a person who is relatively new to your life come in and say, I don't like the way that person moves, and I would appreciate if you didn't hang out with them. I think that's dangerous.
40 Lessons, a coach for life. For life coaching services, contact Dumisani Solwazi at thereal40lessons@gmail.com. That's thereal40lessons@gmail.com.
I think that's scary because I think it well, for one, in my opinion, it disregards my ability to make informed decisions about who I have around me. And two, I think it oversteps a bit. This person was my friend for whatever the reasons are. And usually friendships are built through bonds of yada, 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 whatever the case may be. So for someone who is newer to come in and say, I don't like how this person moves, I would appreciate when you go places that you don't hang around this person. That feels inappropriate to me.
Well, and then you know what, it may be for you and for a lot of other people. But I'm of the mindset of, and it all depends on what you're doing. There's stages to this. Let me back up a bit. I think it's stages to this. Dating, relax. We dating. You don't get no pics on my circle. Relationship, I might hear your commentary, but I'm not obligated to move. People move towards marriage, whole different ball game for me. For me, it's real simple. What those two people say gonna work in that marriage and what's gonna be comfortable, that includes circles. Whatever boundaries they decide to set, whatever distance they need to set on certain people. Because I'm of the firm mind, you get married and all that, you really probably need to change your number so that a whole bunch of people can't even get in touch with you no more. They used to get in touch with you. So you don't get that random text or that random phone call out the blue. You need to set a whole new level of boundaries. I'm of a firm believer that married men can't do certain things they used to do when they were single men. I believe the same thing of married women. I think we need to be more conscious of our circles and our dealings and the places that we go once we are married. It's not to say that you can't enjoy yourself and have a good time, but I just think it's some relationships that do become inappropriate at a certain stage. And I just don't think, I know me as a married man, I'm not interested in you kicking it with your ex. I don't care how cool y'all was when you was single or whatever, but you with me now, and I'm telling you that this don't work for me.
Is there a time limit on that? If it was your ex when you were 23 and y'all 45?
And that's a good question. I would have some additional questions in that situation. I would probably be more open to that particular friendship than I would maybe one that was more recent. That would probably be a give and take point for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, I've seen this dude interact, or it may be other criteria that matter. He's married. He's his life is in a settled direction. Might be open to that at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be some factors that we need to discuss. I'm not just red line. This is what it is. But on things that have been recent, that may been from your dating or a long-term relationship, if it ain't no obligation to children, nah, that person got to go.
Does gender matter?
Does gender matter? Well, it depends what she was doing with the same gender. If
she was romantically involved with a woman.
Oh yeah, I think that matters even more because that's even harder. That's even easier to hide. You know what I'm saying? Because that person can be presented as just a simple girlfriend in most cases. You know what I'm saying? And you walk in your living room one day like, oh, wait a minute, umbrellas are up. What is going on around here? You know what I'm saying? So I think if people have been open and honest about the situation, for me, when you get to a point where you about to take this relationship towards marriage and things of that nature, I think all those things are up for discussion. Because it's those trivial, it's what people would consider a trivial argument or a trivial debate. I think it's those small things that really tear you down within the first couple of years because, you know, it's that honeymoon period where you happy and love, don't want to see nobody but each other. Then life settles a little bit and you get back into the flow of what you regularly do. Then you start regularly doing some of the stuff you regularly do. And then you wait a minute, where you going? With who? Well, who's that? Hey, then you used to, but y'all didn't talk about any of this to start. That's the issue. You should have had these conversations up front. You already know where people are. Because if it's that important to you, if the relationship is that important to you, and you willing to walk away from a potential marriage for it, that's your call. So be it. If that's not a boundary,
I don't even think that it's that you would walk away from. I would more be of the mind that you are walking away from a person who is not considering that you have the ability to be trusted and to make decisions that are good for yourself. Because I do think there's a trust issue. I think that there's some trust issues there.
There are things that I believe married men and married women should be able to ask of their spouse that has nothing to do with trust and could be just solely for their comfortability. And that should be okay.
I am not disputing that the asking of anything is not okay. I am saying I am asking additional questions because if you're saying to me, because what you just did was essentially you just drew a line, a very firm line. And that line is choose them or choose me. And I'm saying if we get to a point where that is the choice that's on the table, I got questions. Because what you are suggesting is, again, that I am not making decisions that are in the best interest of our relationship, which leads me to believe that you don't think I understand what's in the best interest of our relationship, which then leads me to start asking, well, what is the genesis of that? The genesis of that is usually a trust issue. That's what I'm trying to understand.
For me, those are a lot of questions there's a lot of questions for somebody from your past. That's a lot of conversation to have about somebody from your past. I'm of the mindset of I'd rather make some friends and old friends uncomfortable by me having to put distance between us for whatever reason the woman I'm in love with needs it, because she that important to me. And I don't always have to understand the reasoning, but if that person that's in my life at this moment is what I deem to be the pinnacle for me, then that's okay if I got to put some distance or sever some relationships because there's something about it that don't sit right with her. I'm good with that. Because this is where my life is going.
That's totally fine.
And I'm not going to fight over something that's past tense.
And what I am saying is that's fine, as is the choice. And I think this is where we get into a lot of our circles in our discussions. I'm not suggesting that what you're saying is not okay. Mm-hmm. I am simply suggesting that what you're saying is okay, and it is okay to be friends with exes. That is what I am suggesting. Mm-hmm. I think
we haven't totally disagreed on that. Yeah,
and I think we have to do what's best for our relationships. Not in a million years.
That's really the key point for me.
Yes, never in a million. You have to do. But what's really critical, and I think what you alluded to earlier is we're not having conversations up front.
Oh, no.
Because if we have the conversation up front to say, you know, here are the folks that I rock with, and you're like, oh, well, tell me about Tony. Who is Tony? And I'm like, oh, Tony is a dude I used to date back in the day when I lived in Chicago 8 years ago. We didn't work out. We real cool. We bonded over gym shoes, whatever, sneakers, whatever the case may be. So we talk about sneakers a lot. And it's like, oh, so that's your ex. And I'm like, yeah. Then we get into the conversation around. But if you wait, I do agree. We looking at 3 years in relationship.
Because you look
and
like
I'm
Tony
is exactly.
Yeah, because
I'm like, Tony is in town.
Tony at the barbecue.
Right.
And you got Tony in our house.
I agree.
And I'm like, oh, you used to smash this thing?
I agree.
And he in my house?
I agree.
Like, what? You know, that's disrespectful.
I absolutely agree with that.
And this is what I'm always talking about with the I to we stuff. People don't even... I challenge people to just sit down and make a list of things that you think may be an issue. I am always amazed at the conversations I have with Crystal, because it's just, you never know the things that you wouldn't have thought about that come up, and we're able to discuss those things, and you can come to a place, you put that to the side, or you figure out a move forward piece, and you keep going.
Tori Strickland presents Weightless, now available on Amazon.
But you got to keep having all these conversations. And some conversations you have to come back to. Some conversations is going to be 2-3 parts. But you have to find out where your person... People have different limits. They have different places of feelings and emotions. There are couples that are out there that are okay with having multiple partners, and then there are couples, a woman don't want to share you with you going to say hi to the mailman at the mailbox.
With your mama.
Right. But you need to know these things. You need to know if your mama could live with us if she's sick. Y'all need to have these type of conversations.
I agree.
People are getting... I learned through divorce that people are getting divorced because they didn't ask enough. They didn't say enough. They didn't talk about enough. They let it get to a sweet spot, and they said, "I ain't gonna say nothing to mess this up. I'm just gonna be quiet and stand right here." Well, and the whole time, everything is falling down around you, and it's because you ain't tilled no soil, you ain't planted no seed.
I agree.
And here you are trying to harvest a crop that don't even exist.
You did not put in the work. I constantly talk about, in this process that I am going through in terms of sort of re-engineering to, you know, move towards, if that's where I go, move towards being in a partnership with someone, there's a huge amount of work that has to be done. Lots of self-reflection, lots of accountability exercises, lots of going inward. And it is heavy work. But that's because I know on the end of this, I expect to come out a more self-aware, emotionally intelligent, accountable being if I decide to enter into a partnership. When I tell folks like, yeah, I go to therapy, yeah, I do journaling, I do this stuff, I ask myself the critical questions, it's like, my goodness, that's so much. Well, yeah, because in order for me to get the result that I want, I've got to do the work. And I think that the same holds true for effective and productive and good relationships. We've got to put in the work. The energy behind our love has to be, we are talking to each other, we are doing for each other, we are sharing, we are partnering. It can't just always be the sunshine and the rainbows and the Skittles. It has to be the work that goes into maintaining those things.
Man, I'm going on a retreat this weekend with Just Bay to talk about nothing but relationship items with agenda, with time limits on how long we can discuss stuff, to talk about everything I'm talking about on the I to we, the money, the kids, the blend, everything. Because if people gonna come together, you got to start taking that process a little bit more seriously.
I agree.
You put together a life for yourself. Then you decide you're gonna share that life with somebody. You speak to your financial advisor and you do all this research before you buy cars and buy houses and things of that nature. You fall in love and you just like, okay, move in. Y'all ain't talking about nothing. Nobody knows who's gonna handle the money. Nobody knows who's gonna cook the food. Nobody knows who's gonna do what. Am I moving to your house or you moving to mine?
Right.
Don't nobody know nothing.
No conversation,
all they know,
no
we naked and having sex on a regular basis with convenience, that we ain't got to drive to each other's house no more. That's the only thing that they got to.
Which ain't a relationship.
Right.
Really.
And it's like, people don't understand. your partnership, as you call it, or your marriage is gonna be your business.
Yes.
And you have to almost treat it like a business.
I agree.
And you need to define roles and responsibilities, and there needs to be a mission, and people need to be on board with that mission, and the goals and the objectives need to be set up to support the mission. And you need to find out what resources you need to keep the mission vibrant, and to be able to sustain the mission through funds and things of that nature.
Talk about how you're going to hold each other accountable. Yes.
And there need to be accountability. There need to be boundaries. There need to be, people need to be obligated to do some things and need to also see the benefit.
That's what commitment is.
That's what it is. So, as we, move into the 40 lesson moment to wrap this one up, hell no, you can't be friends with your ex. 40 ain't having it. Take your raggedy ex and tell them to go get a relationship and get on about their business. Matter of fact, I'm changing your number tomorrow. I don't want no issues. But no, for real though.
Changing folks' numbers.
I think people need to have real conversations.
I agree.
At all seriously. I think people need to just sit down, talk, be open. I think if you got a partner or you got an ex that you got as a friend, I think your person, your partner, your husband, your wife, they should know. And they should know the full extent of who that person was to you and why that person still exists in your life. And they should be given the opportunity to say how they feel and what they would prefer. And, then that's where the rubber gonna meet the road. We're gonna find out what we're gonna do then, because, either you gonna honor your commitment or you gonna honor your feelings. And that's where that's where the rubber kind of meets the road at. And that's how we end up either stronger or we end up separate, depending on how that conversation goes. True. So that's what it is about the exes, man. That, I'm a firm believer of the past is the past, let it be. And if it bothers somebody that you're in love with now, and it means, and it troubles them to that degree, I'm going to lean towards the person you with now. You there for a reason. I would do everything I could to preserve that situation versus trying to save one that I figured out wasn't for my lifelong fulfillment in the area of love. Just my opinion. Hey, so that was good. That was interesting. We got to hit a couple of roller coasters. Yeah, talked about an extravagant birthday list and exes and everything, all that. So, hey, man, y'all keep Tori in prayer for a Range Rover next week on her birthday. We should have talked about
Facebook friends, exes that are on Facebook and social media.
Oh, that's
I forgot
easy.
to ask
just
about that.
Just delete them. Yeah,
no,
just block,
I'm friends with a couple of exes.
Unless you want to be petty, if you happy in your relationship, just leave them on there and let them see it as it keeps flourishing.
I'm friends with several exes on Facebook.
Oh, I let them be. I'm not even.
Some of them I'm not.
Personally.
Some of them I am.
When you leave me, I go. I'm a petty Sagittarius. I go
all y'all
unfollow,
petty,
delete,
so
and all that. I do it all within that week. Don't get
all
past
y'all
7
petty.
days before you out my life.
All Sagittarius is petty.
Nevertheless, man, we got one more show left.
Yes,
this is Tori's last show.
It is.
This is the last show for the season for Tori. She going on. Who knows what Tori goes? Tori just disappears for days.
That is not true.
Tori, she say her birthday next week, so she gonna go somewhere.
I say like it's not the truth. It's November 21st.
Y'all keep y'all eyes out for Mexico or something. Tori probably be somewhere.
I will be
on
in
the
Central
beach.
America in December.
See what I'm saying? So Tori ends up on somebody's beach. She got birthday list. She got people sponsoring. Tori got sponsors.
I wish. I'm looking for a sponsor.
Listen to that. She said she's looking for a sponsor. You know what I'm saying? Today's show is brought to you. Oh, man. So next week we'll be talking about...
it's going to be good.
Who you bringing over for dinner for the holidays? Crystal will be back next week. She'll finish out the season with me. We'll talk a little bit about, how people should, who people should consider bringing for the holidays. But we'll be talking about, bringing our families together for the first time on a holiday and what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? Put the Hennessy up. And who gonna get to make potato salad? You know what I'm saying? Who mama gonna make the potato salad? It's gonna be a problem. My potato salad better than hers. You know? Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna eat all the potato salad made too. I ain't gonna distinguish none of them. Yeah, give me some of that one, some of that one. Give me both dresses.
I don't want no problem.
Both mac and cheese.
I don't want
slice
no
of turkey on both of them.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want no issues. I'm neutral. I'm just trying to keep the peace. So yeah, man, we'll see y'all next week. We as we always tell y'all, you know, follow us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify. Please subscribe, drop a comment. If you disagree with something we said, please let us know you disagree with us. We love when you disagree with us. And we always try to reach back out and say what's up and you know, try to give you our perspective more clear if we didn't do it the first time. Or give you a better perspective if we didn't do it, you know, properly the first time.
Or tell you you're wrong.
Oh, yeah, you might just be wrong and just get over it. So, yeah, that too. Other than that, man, you know, you can follow your boy at 40 Lessons. You can follow Leak at Shine and Started Entertainment. Tori is having a laugh attack right now. So you can follow her at Tori Strick when she's not laughing on IG. As I always tell you, you say it's yours. Let's go get it, and I'll see you next week. Peace.